Alright, so we're going to start out by solving a fairly simple polynomial, which I have laid out here. So, what can we gather from this to start out with? Well, we're going to start out by just setting up two sets of brackets because we only have an x squared here. So, what we're going to do is factor our x squared first. So, that would just be x times x. So, we're going to put an x in front of, on the front side of each of these sets of parentheses. Now, what we're going to do is find two numbers that add up to our 7, which is our middle term, and multiply to 10, which is our last term. So what we know is 5 plus 2 equals 7, and 5 times 2 equals 10. So we're going to have an x plus 5 and an x plus 2. And that's that first polynomial factored. So we're going to move on to a little bit more complex looking polynomial, but it's not that hard to factor. So how we're going to start this out is we're going to look for our greatest common factors. So we're going to start out with our first number in each of these sets of numbers. So as we can see here, we have a 2, an 8, and a 4 in front of each of our sets of numbers. So what's the greatest common factor between each of those? Well, that would be the 2. So we're going to put a 2 just out here. Now, what can we look at next? We'll look at our x's. Well, we have an x to the 4th, an x to the 3rd, and an x squared. Well, the smallest one there will be the x squared. And since it fits into the x cubed and x to the 4th, it'll be fine to put it up here. Alright, now we'll look at our y's. Well, does y fit into each of these sections? No, it doesn't fit into the last one. So we're going to close that off. That's our greatest common factor. Alright, so we're going to look at what each of these numbers looks like without our 2x squared. So we're going to have right here, if we take our 4 and divide it by 2, it's just a 2. Okay? And then without the x to the 4th minus the x squared, that'll just be another x squared. And then there is no y term, so it's just a y. Alright? And then we'll have our minus sign. And then 8 divided by 2 equals 4. And then our x cubed divided by our x squared equals x. And then we still have our y term there. And then negative 2x squared divided by our 2x squared is just equal to 1. So we'll have a minus 1 here. Now, since we can't factor out anything more from this problem, that's our finished factoring job. So you can check this by just multiplying this term back into all three of these. And then what you'll get is this term up above.